Good afternoon, adventurers. Welcome to John's Dungeon Corner live here at the Collective in beautiful Altamonte Springs. That's the Spanish way of pronouncing it, by the way. It's Altamont Springs, but Altamonte sounds so much more cooler, right? It's a D&D thing, I think. But anyway, welcome to this edition. And today we're going to talk about monsters, and more monsters. Because what's a D&D adventure without monsters? We'll also remember, just like I promised you, we're going to sit there and do a little bit of role playing for you as the weeks go on with different various guest stars. Today it'll be Matty. He'll be here in a little bit. He's kind of working, so we got to kind of work with his schedule a little bit. But let's talk about some monsters. One of the cool things here at the Collective, I believe it's the first Saturday every month, right? Right, Stephen?
Yes.
Every first Saturday of the month, we have a woman that comes in. She's an amazing artist, painter, and she paints miniatures. She has a class on how to paint miniatures. The neat thing is that every month there's a different type of paint night kit. Now, it's not at night. We don't do it at night. We do it in the afternoons, but she comes in and sits down with you, and you buy the kit. And this month, I think it's the Dire Troll I'm holding in my hands. And it's been the Chimera and various ones. So it's very cool. You can come in, and the neat thing about these kits are they have everything you need inside of them. They have the paints, they have the brushes, the water pot. I mean, everything's there. It's just really neat. It's a real nice thing to do. Hello, my love. My wife is on there. Hi, Sarah. Sarah says hi. So see, we got people coming on. Anyway, so that's all about the Dire Troll. Now, and remember, every month, it's a different type of miniature. It's always usually a nice big miniature that you can add to your repertoire of miniatures. So now let's talk about these big old guys right here. These bricks, what they call the brick. It comes with 8 boxes. Now, they're also sold individually. Right up here, you see a bunch of different types. And they're pre-painted figs. They can be anything. They can be, some of them have giants. Some of them have dragons in them, ogres and orcs, and miniatures that you can use for player characters. But we're not talking about player characters, we're talking about monsters. But they're all different. Now, these are some of my favorites. The Monster Menagerie 3. Now, there's 3 of them. One came out, the Monster Menagerie, the Monster Menagerie 2, and this is the Monster Menagerie 3 that's up here. And it's awesome to build a nice stable of monsters for your D&D game. You'll get big ones. It comes with 1 nice big figurine usually, and then 3 others. So you get 4, and the best part is they're pre-painted. You can open them up, put them out on the board, and they're ready to go. No painting required and no assembly required. You can't beat that, right? Okay, so you see, and then here we have Iceland Dale. This is the Iceland Dale one, which is really nice. It has barbarians and snow orcs and all kinds of really neat creatures, and also has characters that you can use for either NPCs or characters themselves. And behind me, you see various ones. This is Volo's and Mordenkainen's Foes. Has monsters in that. And once again, all these miniature boxes have monsters, creatures that you can use there's traps. There's actually a lot of variety other than that. Hey, Danny. Danny's probably on the road, but he says, hola. That's my bud there. He works here at the Collective, by the way. Yeah, he's always working, that guy. I like that. And then over here, we got Icons of the Deep from Waterdeep, the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, the Pathfinder Battles, Darklands Risings, Icons of the Realm, Storm King's Thunder, another Icons of the Realm, Icewind Dale. And here we got 2 more icons, Eberron and the Rage of Demons. And they're all themed. They come in these bricks. You can buy them either as a brick or as an individual. Each one has 4 pre-painted miniatures. Really awesome. And of course, what are we talking about? Monsters. So we got to talk about the monster manual. Remember, this is an encyclopedia of monsters. It is awesome. It has everything from your basic ape all the way through the demons and dragons and orcs. And my favorites, the goblins, the kobolds, the orcs. Those have always been my favorite. And there's various types of them. It's not just like, here's an orc. No, you got like an orc chieftain, you've got your orc shamans, your goblin spellcasters, and dark, what are they now? The hex blades. That's really neat, really nice. And talking about this, let's talk about something when we use monsters in our campaign. Okay, so Each monster has all the stats here. It's a nice little card. Oh, we'll talk about the cards here in a little bit too. But this is the book, as you can see it there. Now, the neat thing about this is it has everything you need. It has the name of the monster, its armor class, its hit dice, its average hit points. If you don't want to sit there and roll the dice, it'll actually give you a hit point average that you can kind of play with up or down depending on how strong you want it to be. It tells you all its actions, all its special abilities, its passive perception, everything that you need to use the monster. But the most important part to me as a dungeon master is the challenge rating. Like let's say let's pick something. One of the guys that I like. Okay, here we go. Oh, let's see where. Oh, look at that. Okay, here we go. A hobgoblin. All right, so we have a hobgoblin, and its challenge rating down here is 1/2. Okay, doesn't sound very powerful, but now the creatures have been designed to always be able to present, and you may have to add more than one hobgoblin, obviously. If you have a venturing group of like 4 or 5, I like to even usually I'll put either match them or put an extra 1 or 2 of the creatures in just to present a challenge. To make it a little tougher, I might take one away and turn him into an archer, because it always gives you their melee, which is with a longsword or a longbow. And now when you look at this and it says, oh, so they can only use a longsword or longbow. No, you can sit there and Danny's reminding me. I always jump around when I see something like that. Danny reminded me that we have a new campaign coming in next week from William Samuel Quinton, the writer of 47 Furious Tales. Awesome comic book. If you have not read that comic book, if you've ever seen the movie, the Ronin movie that came out with can't remember the 47 Ronin movie with who starred in it? Keanu Reeves starred in that movie. It was awesome. Well, this is kind of like a spin-off of it, the 47 Furious Tales, and it's amazing. I have the whole collection. I can't wait for the next. Hi, Jennifer. But yeah, it's amazing. The book is amazing. There's some artwork that you can get right here at the Collective. I still think they have the number 1 issue 1 and 2 and that here. Oh, did you? Oh, they had to order more. Yeah. When they came out, I jumped right on him. I love him. He's a great writer. The story is really neat. I'm not going to tell you about it, but just take my word for it. It's really nice. And he's got a really neat campaign coming out. So, and it comes out next week. So be here for that. But anyway, so back to this. So with the challenge ratings, what I'll do is, like I said, with the hobgoblins, let's say I'll have like 3 or 4 hobgoblins, and they can have spears. Watch. This just kind of tells you longsword. Okay, so longsword does 1d8. So I can substitute a spear, maybe a battle axe. They use whatever they can find. Hobgoblins are not particular. Usually, once they beat up a group of adventurers, they'll take their stuff and mold the pieces of armor to themselves. Pick up a shield. If they had a longsword, they use a longsword. If you want them to use, if your fig has a short sword, use a short sword. If it has a crossbow, use a crossbow. Whatever. The idea is that this gives you a general understanding of what the creature's about. Okay? And then you do your battle, and it gives you how much experience you give the creature, the characters, what its special abilities are, and then the neat thing is here we got a Hobgoblin Captain, and then we have a Hobgoblin Warlord. So it gets consecutively harder as you go up. Like the challenge rating on the Hobgoblin Captain is a 3. So it goes from 1/2 to 3. And then from there it goes to the Hobgoblin Warlord, which it jumps all the way up to a 6. So it doubles. So that kind of gives you an idea of how strong this creature is by himself. So let's say the adventuring party, and here I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to challenge. Okay, so let's say the adventuring party is all first level, and you have 5 of them. So what I like to do is I say, okay, so they are at this point challenge ratings of 1. If one of them's depending on their stats and that, I might give them a 1.5. Okay, maybe a 2. And if there's 6 of them, I usually go, okay, so we've got 6 of them. Let's go with a challenge rating of 2. Challenge times 5 of them. Let's say that's a 10. So I got 10. So I might put 5, 6 hobgoblins out there. And to me, so that's 3 out of 10. Okay, so good. So there goes that. Then I might add like a 4 or 5. It depends on once again, the composition of the party, the level of play of your, if you have a real experienced party and you're starting a new campaign and these guys have been playing, the players are experienced and they've been playing for a while, they've got some tricks up their sleeves. You got to present them with something a little tougher sometimes. In my Wednesday campaign, I had creatures. I think the average party level is 3, and I threw out some creatures that were like at the 6, 7. Now they weren't all that way, but they were challenge rating 3s. Once you get to the challenge rating 3, I'll tell you, this Hobgoblin Warlord, the Hobgoblin Captain, who's a challenge rating 3, has an average hit points of 39. Now he could have 6d8 plus 12, so maximum he could have 60 hit points. Well, that's pretty much the equivalent if you max out an average character that has 8 die, a d8. That's like a 6 level character right there that he would be fighting. So you might put one of those in there, surrounded by a couple of 2s and 3s and maybe 4 or 5 1s, and they're fighting because that kind of keeps them busy. Spellcasters, change the game. So monsters, and remember, monsters aren't just out there, now they're fighting skeletons, so skeletons really don't think very well. But the higher level undead are a little bit more astute. They kind of recognize things. And remember, so they had paladins. I'll give you an example. So the skeletons, every time the paladin used an ability, just like the paladins feel the aura of evil and they can sense when things are amiss, the undead are attracted to the living. So if you're alive, they're coming after you. But when you feel that holy aura or that aura, somebody uses a special ability, then all of a sudden your undead go, huh? And if they're not engaged, they will probably go and engage that creature, or even a cleric that casts a spell, so on and so forth. So that's the way you keep them challenged a little bit. So, Matty, you got a second?
Yes.
All right, well, here we go. All right, so let me put on my mask because, we're going to follow the CDC rules, and I'm going to cover my eyes so I can't see what I'm doing. No, I'm just kidding. So this is Matty right here.
Hello.
All right, man, so you're going to be over there because you're going to play that. That's your character right there. Okay, so now we're going to do a little role play session. So we're going to interrupt. So here's the setting. We're in the town of Greenfield because, well, that's one of my favorite towns. Can we get him in there? Can we turn this?
Is there...
Oh, there we go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you're there. There you are. Okay, you come in. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. Don't mind it because they're going to see that right there. All right, so there's Matty. Matty's going to sit down. All right, so Matty is playing, and he works here. You guys come and say hi to him and, tell him what a good job he does because he's over here helping me out. So he's going to play a human rogue that's going to be coming. He's looking for work. And he's coming to the Greenfield Inn because that's one of my favorite taverns. It's a small little village of Greenfield. And they've told him to ask for Bart the barkeep. So, okay, so here we go. So I've told him, he already kind of knows the backdrop. He's here looking for some adventure, for some work. And he's a first level rogue. All right, Matty. So there you go. You finally find the inn. Here it is. It's the Greenfield Inn. And remember the guy they told you to ask for?
Yes.
All right, so let's see what happens then.
Kind of dusty old bar in here. I'm looking for Bart. Is he working today?
Hey, that would be me. Now this is the character that I'm actually playing. This is represented by this painted miniature. This is actually part of the this whole setting here is actually part of the tavern scene. So here comes Matt. That's it. Well, I don't know about Dusty, but all right. I'm Bart. How can I help you? You need a drink?
I would love a drink.
Excellent. Well, what do you want? I got ales. I got some spirits. And then I got the house stuff.
Surprise me.
Surprise, huh? All right, here you go.
Thank you.
He puts out an ale in front of you. It looks golden brown. It's frothy. You never know. It could be good.
I'll take a swig.
It tastes pretty good. I mean, it's not the best you've had, but it's definitely not the worst. And the best part is it's not dusty. What can I do you for?
I'm looking for some work.
Work? Well, what kind of work are you looking for?
Well, I'm kind of light on money right now. So...
Yeah, you mean you can still pay for that drink there now, can't you? You're not that light.
Will this do?
Absolutely. Yeah. He bites it. All right. He throws it. It disappears. All right. So what kind of work are you looking for? I mean, I don't have anything here, but maybe at the stable masters?
Well, I don't really grow up with horses or anything. I'm more in the killing business, if you know what I mean.
Shh, keep your voice down. What do you mean you're in the killing?
The disappearing business, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean disappear? What kind of work are you looking for?
I'll give you a wink.
Okay. Just as long as we don't cross our wires. All right. And he looks over to the right. Says, there's a gentleman here as he continues cleaning. His glass is probably the cleanest glass in the whole place because you figure he never lets go of this glass.
There's not a single speck of dust.
No dust on his glass. He looks over at a well-dressed gentleman sitting at a table, and you notice that next to him is a guard standing at attention, kind of keeping an eye on everything. And he kind of perked up when you said kill. What? He kind of looked over there, strained his neck a little bit. But the gentleman's well-dressed and sitting at a table. He says, well, Sal over there, he's looking for adventures, if that's what you're meaning.
I'll take it or leave it, and I'll make my way over to Sal.
All right. So you walk on over and have a seat.
Right here.
Yep. All right. So you stand in front. He says, gentleman looks up at you. He's very well dressed. Has a cane, which and at this point I would have you make a perception check. It's roll down.
Right,
he's gonna make a perception check, and we're just gonna go with this. Excellent, a 20. Oh man, he blew that. He knows everything about this guy. Well, you've heard the name Sal. This guy, he trades in things, but he trades in things that nobody else should know about. You know what I'm saying? Kind of. And you notice that the cane that he's holding, yeah, that's not just a cane. That's a cane sword for sure.
All right.
And he's got probably a couple daggers concealed in his sleeves that you can tell.
Okay.
That's because of his perception roll. See, now I'm there. So he's sitting there. He looks up at you and he says, he's been observing you and looking at you. Mm-hmm. So he would make a perception check. Okay. Yeah, knock somebody over. All right. And he goes, what can I do for you?
I'm here to make some money.
Aren't we all?
Absolutely. But I could see that you're a well-dressed man.
I am.
Pockets. Your cane looks rather dangerous, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
So, I think we are both similar kind. Is there anything you could have me do for some money around here?
Well, he kind of looks you up and down and says, well, we're definitely not cut from the same cloth, obviously. But I do get your meaning. I might just have some use for you. I have a caravan that's heading out tonight. And I need someone to accompany it and make sure that things get from point A to point B safely with no problems.
Okay, we talking an escort?
We're talking.
Okay, well, I know I'm a good-looking rogue, but I don't do that kind of work.
Yeah, no, that's not what we're talking about here. I need you just to make sure nothing happens to the cargo.
Okay.
It's going to be going a couple days away, so I'd be willing to toss in, I don't know, 50, 60 gold? 50 gold for the trip? It's some expensive?
And even 70, we can call it a deal.
70.
Listen, I got to take a bath. I got to take care of my kids.
Hey, you know what? Home. He pulls out. He says, I'm going to give you 30 now. And he puts down a vial, a blue-colored vial. He says, and that there as your down payment. And I'll equal that payment once it gets there.
Can I do a check on the vial? Would I know what the vial is?
You've heard this guy deals in a lot of alchemical substances, so you're probably guessing. Well, you're probably guessing he has connections with potion makers and that kind of thing, is what he really, and other things, but that's his business.
Okay.
Is alchemy and potions and that kind of thing. So it's probably beating the blue potion. Just roll. Let's see what you get. Oh, good roll. All right. You kind of figure, blue. Those are those healing potions you've been hearing about.
Okay.
They're very interesting. They're very interesting. Normal healing potions are red. This guy's potions, when he makes them, are blue. So it's something different that he's doing. But they're of a good quality.
Okay.
They're good quality. So he puts that out in front of you. He says, that'll be your payment up front. You'll get a meal here. And once you get there, you'll have a room for the night. And then you're on your own, unless, of course, you like to keep working for me.
Well, one thing I do value just as much as money is information. What am I going to be escorting?
Oh, well, that's... we'll let you know that once your business starts. I don't give out that kind of information until I know. I'm trusting you because, well, I don't have a reason not to trust you. I can always get my money back.
Now, I do work alone. Is there anyone else that plans on accompanying me?
Just the driver. This is a one-way trip.
Sounds good to me. Sign me up.
All right. So meet tonight at closing here. And then he looks over at the guard, and the guard nods. Benjamin will be traveling with you as a driver.
Okay.
And good day to you.
Have a good day. So I'm gonna walk over to who's this again? Bart. And I'm gonna grab one more beer. Can I get a beer for the road?
Absolutely. So he turns over here, and there's this little tap here, and he opens it up and pours it out and puts it in front of you. He goes back to cleaning his glass.
I'm gonna grab it and say it's on him, and I'll point to Sal, and I'll walk out the door.
All right. So there's the role play say. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
So there you go. That was a nice, simple little role playing session. Oh my gosh! And he kicked the stool over as he left. That's all right. We'll pick it up. But there goes a nice little role playing session. And and Christina said, or my wife Rena said, Christina. She goes by Rena. That's a different story. But she said, what a cool tavern. This tavern, I'm glad she said that. The tavern is actually the Warlock House. Thank you again, Matty. That was awesome.
Absolutely.
The Warlock House from Town and Village. You can get them here. You can build a tavern this way. You can actually, all the tiles connect. You can make it one big square, a longer rectangle. There's curved pieces that you can actually get that make it really neat and unique. So, and then, like I said, the inside part is a tavern set. So that was a role-playing session. You saw we had a couple dice rolls just, hey, because that's the way the skills work in Dungeons & Dragons. But most of it, the roll was really just to see how well he perceived. There's certain things that you can always tell, but he had heard about certain things about this certain gentleman because he noticed who he was and really recognized who and what he does. All right, so back to monsters. We were talking about the monsters. Now, here's something that can help you out when you run a campaign. And these are really cool too. All right, here are the monster cards, challenge ratings 6 through 16. Remember we were talking about challenge ratings? Now, these things are so popular, they're out of the 1 through 5, which is actually twice as big as this. It's actually the size of this, a little bit bigger. Really cool. Now, talking about this, these are Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, some of the monsters out of that book. And here go, once they get up to a certain level, like this is 6 through 16, well, here go the epic monster cards. These are creatures like dragons and unicorns and wraiths and just really, really high-powered stuff. And here goes Volo's Guide to Monsters. These are some of the monster cards. It's really nice. Instead of always having open the book, I like them because I can put them in the sleeves, and I can look at them and just have them there in front of me. I use a little 4-pocket one, so I can look at my monster. If I have 4 different types of orcs, I can have the orc grunts. Let's say I have an orc shaman, an orc leader. So I'll have those 3 cards there, and I can just look at all their stats right there in front of me. And it's really cool because everything's at my fingertips. So I can just flip a page if I'm going to fight, if they're going to fight kobolds next, then I have my kobolds lined up. Since the card holders, the sleeves can hold cards back to back, I can put 2 cards in there because in the back of the cards have a picture of the monster, which is really neat. The full color picture. And then, of course, inside you see all the details like straight out of the monster manual. It's like they just reprinted it. So that's what's really nice. Of course, talking about the miniatures. I was talking about the pre-painted ones. You see the dragon. They come in the big sizes here. Over here, though, is the gargantuan red dragon. Right here. And it's unpainted. And here's the neat thing. Now, it says gargantuan red dragon. Oh, I can take this off now. I'm back here by myself. It says red dragon on it. But the neat thing about this is, if you paint this guy black, guess what? Now he's a gargantuan black dragon. If you want to paint him blue, now he's a blue dragon. So, just because the miniature, if you love the miniature, I love the way that looks, you can paint it whatever color you want. It's just like any of the other miniatures that are up here, in fact. You can paint these, now not the pre-painted ones, although technically if you really found something that you really liked and wanted to use for something else, you can primer it and repaint it. It's like that. They're not going to get mad at you. It's your miniature at that point. So up here, let me roll around to the front now. Up here, let me point at them. Okay, they're right. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get them in the picture, so I'm gonna have to bring them in. Here we go. I'm gonna turn these guys like this. Right here that you're looking at. Let me see if I can get them in the picture. There they are. Ooh, isn't that some cool stuff right there? Okay, anyway, so there's a dire troll that I was talking about. I love it because I can move things around here. So here we have a human warlock. And this warlock, now he's a character. You can use him as a character. Okay. It's a pre-painted miniatures. It's one of the Icons of the Realms miniatures. There it is. Really cool character with some scenes fully painted. You can use that, yes, as a character, as a human character for yourself. Or you can use it as the villain, the main villain, NPC villain behind this, the disappearances of travelers, or he's in charge of the group that has been raiding the merchant trails. And with him are some gnolls, kobolds. So he's got a band of humanoids working for him, orcs and goblins. And these are all unpainted. So we can use them like that. Now, here's the neat thing. I've seen people paint some of the orcs and goblins because there's different books that allow you to use some of the monster races now as player characters. They'll see a figure and say, hey, that looks really cool, and they'll buy it and they'll paint it as a character. So these miniatures are very diverse because you can use them either as the monsters or you can use them as NPC. Let's say you go into a tavern and there's an orc guard there. It's not beside for a tavern keeper to hire maybe a couple of orc brutes to keep the peace in the tavern, especially a rowdy town, right? So there's a couple of orc guards there. There you go. Now they're orc guards. And then you put them in another setting, and now they're orc raiders. And then you put one of them in another setting, and he's the orc chieftain. So you get the idea that these miniatures are very diverse. You can use them in a lot of different roles, which is what makes the game so much fun, is the diversity and the various things that you can do with it. All right, so going back to monsters now. So you want to create a campaign, and you've got the monster manual, you've got miniatures. You start out with something simple. You don't have to start in a tavern, okay? And, I say monsters, but NPCs. And I remember I talked about, hey, William, how are you? Yeah, that's really cool. Let me put this back down here. The tavern settings that you can do with the Warlock tiles are really amazing. I'll put some of the cards are here too. I'll turn it because that's the way so you can see kind of the monster cards. So let's start back to here. NPCs. NPCs are neither monsters nor adventurers, although they could be a retired adventurer, or you've got Whispers of Persephone that you picked up at the collective. Yes, sir. Good stuff there. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see everybody out. Let me say this again. We got that new campaign coming in next week from William Quinton, the writer of 47 Furious Tales. Make sure you take a look at it, and if you like it, pick it up. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. He's been working on it for a while. Anyway, so back to the NPCs. So my NPC bartender, I played technically 3 NPCs. I only role played 2 of them. I role played Bart the bartender and Sal the shifty merchant that hired Matty's character to escort his caravan. But I also kind of mentioned Benjamin, the guard who's also going to be the wagon driver tonight. Okay, so I role played the 2 and mentioned the 1, but basically as the game master, the dungeon master, I'm all 3. Yeah, William said that he loves this setup. It looks great, and here's the neat thing about this, everyone. These setups, you can make this a square, like I said, a rectangle. I have 3 sets of dungeon tiles. I have 2 sets of the dungeon and 1 of the warlock, and I set up the big giant. I used all the floor tiles and everything, and I bought an extra set of the wall tiles. And my tavern's huge. I was like, holy moly! In game terms, it's over 10,000 square feet in game terms, because each square is 5 feet. So you can imagine a tavern that's literally 10,000 square feet. It's crazy. So you can do a lot with it. A lot. And I love taverns. But now the NPC, so he goes out on this adventure. Now he might run into orcs. And I would tell it's only him. Let's say this is a one-off. Maybe his rogue is just starting out. I want to do a little something with it because he's a new player. And I try to do this. I call him my session zeros. He'll leave. He was from the small town of Night Vale. He traveled down to Greenfield because he heard there was adventures being hired down here. So he just got hired. He's going to go on an adventure by himself, basically. And he's going to guard the merchant train. What's in the merchant train? Well, he won't find out till tonight when that tavern closes. It's got to be something shifty, though, because for a wagon train to leave, for a cart or something to leave at night, But anyway, he's going to escort it. We know it's going to take a couple days. Along those 2 days, they'll camp at least once or twice. They may get attacked by goblins. They might get attacked by some bandits, human bandits. When you say bandits, you mean anybody who's trying to rob you, basically. It could be a human, an orc, and an elf. They're bandits. Doesn't matter. They could be fighters. They could be, have a bowman. I usually at first level, if I do put in a spellcaster, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, there's actually a way to build an NPC spellcaster that's not a wizard or sorcerer. And they could be either a cleric or a arcane caster. Okay. I think they're called mages. They're just called a mage. There's also fighters. But we're getting into the DM's guide. I'm going to stick with the monster manual. In the monster manual, there's in the back, there's bandits. There's all kinds of nice things that you can throw at people. Of course, the orcs. Then you can just use orcs that are just, hey, so this bandit guy is, this human is paying these orcs, he gives them like X percentage of what they get. And they get to rough up whoever it is. Orcs like that kind of thing. A little mayhem every once in a while keeps orcs happy. So that's how that adventure would go. But as the adventure goes, when he comes back, maybe now he'll meet up with the other players because now they were working this weekend. Or like I said, this was session 0. And this could take place anytime in the campaign. Now they're all back together. Now I'm going to send them out. Well, heck, this small group of bandits tried to raid him. But in the fight, after the fight, he killed one. And he had this strange markings on his cloak of a skull with a sword through it. Maybe it's a new bandit gang. Maybe it's a cult. I'm not sure. So he goes and he investigates whatever. Now they're going on the next part. They're going to go see if they can find the bandit camp because this has been going on a lot, and with some frequency. So now your group goes from maybe the 2 or 3 bandits that attacked him. Now we have maybe so now he got a couple buddies. Now there's going to be 3 or 4 of them going. You've got a group of like 6 or 7 at an outpost, and it could be like a abandoned farmhouse. It could be a ruined outpost. So now you've got like 3 or 4 of these guys, and these are like the outpost. They're out there making sure that the actual camp gets alerted if anybody tries to get through. And they run into them, and whatever happens, happens. And then the next stage now they're going to go and attack the main camp or the hideout, depending on what you do. And it could be a cave. It could be, once again, a ruined fort, an abandoned settlement, whatever. There's a lot of things you can do with that. But now they've got like 5 or 6 guys with them. And so the bandit camp is now maybe 10 or 12 strong, and we got a couple leader types in there. You might throw in a captain, an orc captain or a hobgoblin captain, and now you might throw in as the main guy, or maybe that human was the main guy, and he's a fledgling caster. He's a mage of some kind, an arcane caster, the warlock, let's say, so on and so forth. Then you would role play all those characters, but the miniatures that you have, and you could just use the miniatures, and you can always pretend. I mean, sometimes you just have a unique character or monster, and you have to find something to take its place. And the cool thing is, there's a disguise self spell. Maybe it's a caster, and it's disguising itself as something else. Maybe he's disguising himself to be. Maybe it's a drow, and he's disguising himself to be a human. And then when you start hurting him, somehow his concentration breaks, and the disguise wears off. And holy moly, now you're faced with a drow. He skedaddles it, and now you got to go. Do I chase this drow? And maybe that leads to the next part. So there you have it. There's a lot of wonderful things that you can do with the monsters, and they can lead you from one to another to another. Remember challenge ratings. And sometimes, monsters may seem a little tough. It's okay. The tougher they are, the more experience you get. That which does not kill us gives us experience. Oh, talking about that. So MegaCon's going on this weekend. Don't forget, I went out there yesterday. I had a really good time. Some of the artists that come out here to the collective are out there. Danny and and Brendan. Yeah, Danny and Brendan are doing a panel on Saturday. So a couple panels, maybe, I think it is. But go on the website and get the information there. Make sure you go and look them up and support them, because that's always a good thing. Anyway, so hey, Steven. So at this point, hopefully you've learned a little bit about monsters. Don't forget about the Monster Manual. It is your encyclopedia of all things monstrous.
Right.
Yes, I'm going to be closing down here, but I wanted to make sure I got you. Anyway, so this is John from John's Dungeon Corner, bidding you have a wonderful day. It's been great. Here's Steve, as always, helping me out.
If you couldn't tell.
He is. He's got so much. He's throwing so many plates in here and juggling them. It's great. But remember, always come and say hi to this guy. He's great. He helps keep this crazy asylum going.
He'll be at MegaCon tomorrow.
He'll be at MegaCon. Oh, I'm glad you came. So tomorrow, when's y'all's panel?
We are at 4:30.
There we go.
4:30 here.
At 4:30. Oh, I thought we had a makeup artist person.
No.
Oh.
So we will have a panel tomorrow at 4:30 for anybody who is looking to self-publish their own comics on basically how to market your comic.
Look at that.
2 retailers. We'll have Travis Gibb, Jonathan Hedrick, and David Byrne from Scout Comics all there to talk and give you guys their input and their insight into.
The collective.
It's
a community. Look at that. What am I telling you? You guys know that. Anyway, so this cool shirt, my son and daughter-in-law got, Sarah and Antonio got it for me. It's my DMing my DMing shirt. So I wore it today to show it off, because it's always cool to show off the cool stuff. It's a dragon looking. He's Dungeon Master again. There's a dice, and on the cover of the Dungeon Master screen, he's got another dragon. Hey, why not? But anyway, I hope as I like to say, I hope the road rises up to meet your feet. Have a wonderful time adventuring, and I will see you next Friday, where we'll talk about characters, because you got to have some kind of character, right?
Right.
See ya.